Hi, John Duerler with Hancock Homes Realty. Here are the pros and the cons of living in Hancock Park. Let's talk about the pros. The pros, there are so many. This is a community that is right in the middle of Los Angeles. This was developed in the late 1800s, early 1900s by Henry Hancock and his mama. That's right, they ended up buying some land from the Rancho La Brea Ranch, and they started developing Hancock Park. You have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area where most of the lines, of course, the power lines are all buried. This was the first neighborhood in the United States that started doing that. One of the pros, not many power lines. Another pro is the architecture of these homes. These homes were built, again, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but the architecture that we have here, Mediterranean, we have craftsmen, we have colonial revivals, we have Spanish. There are so many different types. And the beautiful thing about Hancock Park is every house is different. You're not going into a community where it is just beige and all the houses are the same. The garage doors are the same. The front doors are the same. The lawns are the same. I mean, it's not robotic. It is individual, beautiful taste. These homes are absolutely gorgeous. And of course, the community, you have the lighting, even the lights in the streets are just gorgeous as well. If you like new, modern, again, that's a con that you're not going to get here in Hancock Park. You will eventually, there are a few, and some have come in. Again, we have the HPOS. Is that a pro or a con? HPOS, what is HPOS, John? Historic Preservation Overlay Zone. What does this do? It controls the integrity of these houses when they were first built. So if you want to come in and tear down a house, that's a con. You're not going to be able to do that in Hancock Park. You're going to have to, you can restore it and you can add square footage if you want. And a lot of people have. There's been developers that came in here and, you know, you're limited in Los Angeles of putting how much square footage you can build on your lot. Right now, it's 45% of the lot size. So if you're at a 10,000 square foot lot, 45% is 4,500. A lot of these houses, especially on Van Ness and Norton, have the 10,000 square foot lots. But a lot of those houses were built at the 2,800 square foot range. Actually, there's a house on the market that just, sold that was only 2,800 square feet. Now, it had the center hall plan. It was a colonial. Center hall plans are huge here in Hancock Park. 4 bedrooms up top, the living room to the left, the dining room to the right. Behind the dining room is your butler's pantry, then your kitchen, and then the living room to the left. Those are basically your common floor plans that are in these homes. But the great thing about it, you can go ahead and add and push back because, again, not all bedrooms have ensuite bathrooms. So what a lot of people do is they buy the 2,800 square foot homes and they push them back and they bring them up to 4,000 or 4,500, depending on the lot size, to maximize what you can do, especially in the primary bedrooms. These primary bedrooms, some of them in these smaller houses were small. So a lot of people build out, raise the roof, and have high ceilings. And I've seen some beautiful, beautiful restored properties, again, under HPOS, to do that. And they push back. So you can push back on the property. If you are pushing back and it's a little askewed and you can see it from the street, you may get pushback from the HPOS. But if you design it to where it really matches part of the house, they will give you a variance. Some will, some won't. It just depends who was on the board at the time during HPOS. And they change, people change, so it's not always there. But that can be a pro or a con for Hancock Park. So if you're coming to build a property, it's going to be very tough unless what's called non-conforming. Now we have 1,100 homes in Hancock Park proper, plus or minus, and 1,100 homes in Windsor Square, plus or minus. So there's 2,200 homes that are in the HPOS area. About, I would say, 300 out of those are non-conforming. John, what is non-conforming? Well, non-conforming is when they went around and they did HPOS for the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone, some of these houses did not cut the mustard, if you will. They didn't make the team. So they're not on the team, meaning they were altered before, and so they don't fall under that. And that's a good thing if you wanted to come in here and buy a property and build it from the ground up. You do still have to go to the HPOS and they still have to agree on it, but again, you're building a brand new property. Some of these properties have been turned into modern, which you don't get a lot of modern properties in the early 1900s. However, there are homes that are modern in Hancock Park and they do sell for a premium because there's not that many. But boy, the ones that we do have, they are extraordinary. So is it a pro? Is it a con living in HPOS? That is something you will need to decide if you want to live here. Now, again, if you go to Beverly Hills, they don't have that. And they're tearing down the houses over there and building whatever they want. But it is more controlled in Hancock Park. So you need to understand that before you come in and buy a property here. But of course, they have to disclose that. But I think it is a great problem to have, if you will, because it continues to keep the integrity of these gorgeous, gorgeous homes. So I know I went off on a rant there for the pros and cons, but I wanted to make sure that you understand what you're buying here in Hancock Park, what you do get, and what you could come up across. We have flipped homes in the neighborhood. We've been to these meetings with the HPOS, so we do have an understanding. However, we're not flipping homes anymore. I'm focusing more on just selling homes. So that is a pro or a con. What's a con? Let's talk about a con here in Hancock Park. Well, we're not at the beach. A lot of people want to live close to the beach, go surfing. You know, we are probably roughly 30 minutes if you just pop down to the 10 and go over to Santa Monica. So if you're looking for the beach, you can drive to it, but you're not going to walk out your door and go there. So we are away from the beach. What's another pro? The pro, I think, the other than these gorgeous homes, our location. Our location is right in the middle of Los Angeles. Now, back in the day, in the 1800s, Hancock Park was developed away from downtown, west of downtown. And it was probably, going down the dirt road all the way to, it took about, 15, 20 minutes. Well, again, with great traffic, you could be into downtown in about 15 to 20 minutes from Hancock Park. And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, downtown LA was just business. The big buildings, there was no lofts, there was no nightlife at all. Cut to 20 years, 30 years later to today, look what we have. We have the Staples, now some Bitcoin stadium. We also have the new Rams Stadium. We also have so many events that go on downtown that the culture down there is amazing. The restaurants, the entertainment, it is amazing. So being in Hancock Park, if you're thinking of moving here into LA, consider it. The other pro about Hancock Park is you have a variety of homes that you can choose from. And what I mean by that is we have anywhere from 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, little 1,100 square foot bungalows, all the way up to over 12,000, 15,000 square foot of living space of the big mansions, 10 plus bedrooms, huge lots that are almost, an acre. Some are over an acre with tennis courts. And our community, and this is a big pro about our community, the big pro about our community is that you have a variety. Now, if you're starting out, of course, there are some condos and apartments and duplexes you can rent. But if you're starting out and you want to buy that first house and you have a budget of $1.5 million, you can find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And again, within Hancock Park, we have Larchmont. Larchmont Village, boy, that is the best kept secret, so don't tell anybody. You don't get the paparazzi and all the BS you get over in Beverly Hills. This is a community that is quiet. It's quiet community, meaning we don't have all the craziness over here. Some we do, but Larchmont Village is such a great magnet where people go get their coffee, their bagels. The restaurants are there. We're starting to get more restaurants that are coming in, but we have plenty of restaurants, beauty supply, hair studios. There is just so much here. We have a great farmers market on Sunday. You have the studios. You have Paramount Studios, Netflix right in Hollywood. So again, Hancock Park sits center just south of Hollywood. If you have to pop over to the valley, you hit the 101 and just go. It's very accessible to the 10 freeway, to the 101. So there are a lot of pros on that. Let's talk about more cons. Let's see. Cons. There's not that many because it's such a great community. All right, let's talk about a con. And a con can be anywhere, but you have 3rd Street, 6th Street, Beverly, Melrose, Wilshire. Not in those orders. But you have all of those all of those streets that run east-west. So those are east-west streets that run. And if your house is on the corner of one of those streets, you're going to hear street noise. You're definitely going to have that. So if you're coming from the city of New York, you're okay with it. If you're coming from Middle America and you want quiet, the corner homes will not be for you. But again, 2 to 3 or 4 in from these streets, very quiet. Very quiet. But you still get city noise as well. But, that's one of the cons there. Give me a call if you're thinking about moving to Hancock Park. Again, Hancock Park consists of Hancock Park, Windsor Square, Larchmont. We also have other little micro communities that are attached to it. But again, Hancock Park is a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to invest. We have plenty of duplexes, again, ones that are over on Orange and Mansfield. Those are some gorgeous duplexes that look like mansions, the way they designed them back in the day. There's plenty of history here. We have a country club, the Wilshire Country Club. We also have the LA Tennis Club. Those are both separate, but they're a stone's throw away from each other. And the clubs are fantastic. If you love to play golf, that's Wilshire. If you love to play tennis, good bar scene, great swimming pool. The LA Tennis Club is right here in Hancock Park as well. I am John Duerler with Hancock Homes Realty. Give me a call if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer them. And if I don't have the answer, I will find it and I will get it back to you. Thank you. Have a great day.